We're ready to go. How's my complexion look? Should I do glasses or no glasses?
Glasses. It hides some of the wrinkles.
What's going on, y'all? We got a little reflection episode here for y'all. It's been 6 months since we launched the Learnings and Missteps podcast, and Rene and myself kind of go back and forth about what the experience has been like, what it was like when we started, where we are now, and how much y'all have impacted our lives. The learning that Rene has had and the learning that I've had has been immense. It's deeper than we expected. And I hope you can feel the appreciation coming through because y'all are really the fuel that keeps this endeavor going forward. Those of you that are interested in some exclusive content, early access to our episodes, and supporting the mission, we set up a Patreon account for y'all to contribute even more than you have so far. We've got 4 different levels. Any level that you sign up for will get you special recognition on the video version of these podcast episodes that we're now releasing on YouTube. We got a YouTube channel, baby. Watch out. We'd love to be able to share your name and let everybody else out there know that you're behind us. So you can find each of the 4 levels to sign up and contribute at patreon.com/learnings and missteps. We love you guys, and here we go. So it's been 6 months since we posted our very first podcast episode, Rene. And are you surprised we made it this far?
Yeah, I'm totally surprised. I knew we weren't gonna stop, like, at least for a year, but I don't know, because I know how you are, and you're not gonna quit on anything. So I knew we weren't gonna stop. We got a schedule going, and we stick to that schedule no matter what, and we're just getting consistent content out. The interview backlog is great, but I didn't expect, I guess, like, the momentum. I didn't expect this amount of momentum. I was thinking we'd get like 50 downloads the first year, 50 to 80 maybe.
Yeah.
What did we get? We got that like the first 2 months or something, or the month?
We got that the first episode, fool.
Oh, the first episode?
You mentioned momentum. What do you mean by momentum?
So what I mean by momentum in this context is that the feeling, really. Like, I felt like we were gonna do it, but we were gonna make it happen because that's what we established. Like, that's what we agreed to, I guess. And maybe I felt like eventually the feeling wasn't gonna be there, and we were just doing it just because that's what's in your head, and like you're gonna get it done. Like, whatever's in your head, you're gonna see it through. So I felt like we were just gonna see it through and give ourselves like a year or something and be like, well, maybe we tried it and we saw it through, and yeah, that's it. That's what I thought, to be honest. Like, when we started, I really didn't see that going so far. I mean, for a lot of reasons, not because like I didn't believe in the message. I definitely believed in the message. I just had questions about whether people would believe in our message. And whether I would be able to, I guess, hang like with the big dogs, because I feel like everybody we interview is a big dog in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I feel like a little fish in a big pond sometimes. So I was just questioning if I would be able to hang. That's what I mean by momentum. Like, the feeling for me, like, it was less your momentum I was worried about, and it was like mine. I was just worried I'd get kind of left behind. Not that you would leave me behind, but that I would get in my own head and kind of mess it up.
How has doing this podcast, it's over the past 6 months, me harassing you, selling you calendar invites, yelling at you about the teams and device settings and like all of that, the background, back of house work, how's that changed the way you think?
Oh, that's good. I feel like, man, that's a good one. I feel like I want to call all of that like a workload, and I guess it just changed my perspective on what I'm capable of, you
Oh,
know, like, and how I feel like all these little things, like the Microsoft Teams thing. I didn't know any of this stuff, like on how to connect the webcam or like accept an invite, finding the damn invite, setting up the Outlook, or like, well, you set it up, but like navigating the Outlook with the Microsoft 365, all that stuff, the back of the house stuff you just mentioned. I didn't know how to do any of that, but it just like now I do, and it just I guess it changed my perspective in the way like I can handle this workload. And if I
mm,
can handle this workload, what other kind of workloads can I handle? Even though at the beginning of the when the workload is presented to me, and maybe I don't know, or maybe I'm intimidated by it at first. When I chip away at it little by little, what does it look like at the end if I just see it through?
badass. That's good. I mean, I can relate. You know, maybe not specific to the whole how do you use Outlook and all that stuff, but you know, when you and I when I first texted you about, hey man, I'm thinking about doing a podcast. Like I knew that moment when I hit send that, all right, my ass is out there, and
Yeah.
and I don't even know if I can do it. I don't even know if we can do it. I've never done a podcast. I've been on a podcast and feeling like, oh man, so you already know me, right? And our audience may not know me. I have a tendency to want to do everything right now, and that's overwhelming for some people. And so when you said you want me to be your Echo Charles, I was like, yes, even better, because I knew you could help me manage that, right? Like, dude, chill out. That wasn't the plan. Like at the very beginning, like, no, we need more bank episodes. I'm like, but we got stuff, we got content. Like, no, you said we're gonna do 10 bank episodes. We're not releasing until we get to that number. And so like the overwhelm for me, or they have fancy words for it. Imposter syndrome. I'm not a podcaster. I don't have a social media presence. I'm not an influencer, all that stuff. So I had to like work through that. But to work through that, I had to like say, screw it, man. This is gonna be quick and dirty Jesse style. And I'm okay with that. Not to say I'm gonna half ass it, but I'm okay with it not being polished. We're going to learn how to make it shinier through doing it. But I was still very uncomfortable, way outside of my comfort zone. And being able to do it with you totally changed that dynamic. Like that took it away from that fear of like you and I doing this together gave me a shit ton of confidence, a lot of confidence, because we were doing it together. So now it's like you and me hanging out, interviewing people. Like originally I said, okay, well, my poor friends, right? Because I'm going to harass the living hell out of them. But they still hadn't said yes, right? Like I didn't know if they were going to make time for it. We do it on Saturday mornings. That's a little intrusive to the home life and stuff. I didn't know if they were going to say, Jesse, you're a nut job. I already know you got issues. I don't have anything like, I don't mind knowing you, but I don't want people to hear me talking to you. Like all these weird
Yeah.
little insecurities, like that was a real thing. And then, okay, all I had was these 4 questions. And I was like, man, is that even enough? Right? Like originally I thought each episode was going to be maybe 15, 20 minutes. And Chingao, like none of them are less than 45 minutes, which is awesome. How has the feedback that you've been getting, was that what you expected?
That's a good question. No, the quick answer is no, because it wasn't what I expected, because I just expected like no feedback.
Mm,
Yeah, I didn't expect my friends to really respond to it, or even like my coworker. I was expecting negative feedback, like y'all don't have this, or y'all need to fix this, or you know what I'm saying, or like y'all, I mean, you're it's up in their hole because freaking Joe Rogan podcast. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, yep.
uh, I was expecting that, but it was like surprisingly positive. Like my superintendent was he. I mean, he wanted to jump on board right away. after hearing the first couple of episodes, and he even some people they just hop on the bandwagon just to be like supportive, and which is cool. That's great.
Yes.
But like it seemed sincere because he actually talked about the episode, like what we talked about.
Wow.
What me and you talked about. Like he really listened to it. He was talking to me about, remember when we had that conversation about crew culture?
Yes.
And we were talking about that, like me and him, and I could tell like he really listened to it, which was, I had no idea anybody would do that, because I know I've done that too, where I'll listen to a podcast and I'll that like one of my buddies or somebody I know has, and I'll listen to it, and I'll listen to like 5 minutes of it, and then I'll get busy and I'll stop. But I listen to it for the support, so I can give them that extra view,
Yep.
show them some love and stuff. But where I've actually gotten feedback, sincere feedback, where they listen to the whole thing or the vast majority of it and talk to me about it too. So that, I thought that was really cool. Wasn't expecting that. Very pleasantly surprised.
And did that put some fuel in your gas tank?
Yeah, it did. It made me feel like, because like all the content prior to getting any feedback from the people in my circle, I was like, man, like I would listen to our episodes like, dude, I can't believe I said that, or like I sound freaking stupid. I was comparing myself to Jocko Podcast, Joe Rogan, all that stuff, the big dogs of the podcast world. And I was like, I don't sound like that. I'm far from that. And it was intimidating. That silence where I wasn't getting feedback was scary. I was like, well, I guess they're just not saying anything because I suck and they don't want to tell me.
Oh, this is so mijo.
Yeah, man. But then like they actually came to me. They're like, dude, like we really like this. Like this is really cool and unique, and more people need to talk about this, and you guys got to keep doing it. So I was like, wow, that's so cool.
Yeah, man.
And then and then you said, did it add fuel to me? For sure. It was like, wow, like I felt like crap about what I put out, and they liked it. So it just kind of, I guess it gave me that validation. I guess I'm actually getting involved with something legit. So yeah, I mean, it did add some fuel.
Yeah, for me, you use the perfect word, validation, right? I mean, I know I carry myself like I don't care about what people think. I'm going to do whatever the hell I want to do. But the silence, right? That period of time when we posted the first episode and nobody said anything, right? To me directly, is like, oh shit, we just threw a bomb out there and nobody gives a damn. Like oh my God.
Yeah.
And then it started getting feedback. And it's like, okay. And exactly like you said, the feedback that I started getting was not like, oh, that's cool. It was, it was good. It wasn't that type of feedback. It was like, dude, when Rene said this, or when Shannon said this, or when Diana made this comment, like it shifted the way I needed to hear that. It helped me. It's helping me think of things differently. Or I've heard this several times about about Ernest's The Boss, episode number 5, about where we share Ernest's poetry. Several people have told me, like, dude, your brother has a talent, like that's amazing. The way he read it, the words in the poem made me think about my dad, or made me call my dad, made me think about how I treat my kids. Like that kind of stuff was just like you said, validation. And man, that lit me up. Then it was like, okay, this is not gonna stop. We gotta keep doing this.
I agree 100%. But what do you think about this? What if we never got the validation? Do you need validation? You know what I'm saying? To continue?
Yeah. I think I think validation is a human need. Let me answer this more specifically. For me, in my head, I was going to do this with 0 downloads for 18 months. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like going into it to manage my expectations and disappointment and all that bullshit, I said to myself, okay, Jess, if you're going to do this, you got to have a plan to do this for 18 months, regardless of what people respond to or whether they listen to it or not. If you're not willing to do that, don't bullshit around. There's other things you can be doing. But that's the way I think. Like, okay, this is the target. This is what we're going to do. And the outcome, I'm not too concerned about the outcome. I mean, I am, but that's not what the purpose is at that point.
Yeah,
when I'm
that's
making
not the most important thing.
That's not the most important thing. The most important thing is doing it. But yeah, like for real, if I had a little bit of validation, that'd be pretty badass. If I got a few downloads, I'd really like that. I guess it takes us back to purpose. Was I doing this to get notoriety? Were we doing this to have our voice and our beautiful faces all over social media? No, like
that's why I was doing it. Just kidding.
I love it. Like that wasn't the purpose. The purpose was to change the image of careers in the trades. That's the purpose. But yeah, the affirmation absolutely helps. Knowing that it's affecting somebody absolutely helps, right? And it makes me think of, people, because there's a lot of people out there that have a talent or an idea that they're just not comfortable putting out into the world.
Yeah.
And hell, believe me, I wasn't comfortable about this. So there's a couple of things there, right? Put the damn thing out there. We put it out there. The first episode 0, I recorded freaking sound transitions of a table saw. I did, it was like, okay, that's cool enough. And Sean, my partner, coworker, friend, dedicated listener, he's like, hey, bro, I listened to it. It's good. Sound quality, you got some issues, but you're going to work on it. And he's like, but dude, you really need to do something about that transition. That transition, it scared the hell out of me. Okay. And I'm like, dude, I feel you, but I'm not sure. Like, I need help. What do you think? And he's the guy that came up with the idea of, dude, what about starting a lawnmower? I said, oh, that's it. So that's what we did. Recorded this. Ernest recorded the sound of the lawnmower starting up, and that's our transition sound. So my point is this: for the people that are maybe a little apprehensive about putting themselves out there, do it. Just do it. It's horrifying. I understand. It's paralyzing. I know. But once you do it, what you discover is that it's really anywhere near as bad as you thought it was going to be. The second thing is all the other people out there that get to take in whatever that person's putting out, let them know what you think. And it doesn't have to be all rainbows and butterflies. Like I said, he crapped on my freaking transition sound. But not in a negative way. He did it, and he was giving me ideas of how to make it better. Not like, hey, that thing sucks, and he walked away. He's like, hey, It scared me. Like, that sound was a little intense. What do you think about X, right? He gave me an idea. And for people out there that want to try something new or that have been thinking about it for years and years, do it. And for all the other people that are friends or associated with that individual stepping out there, let them know what you think. Give them some real honest feedback. And that's how it, I mean, for me anyways, that's how this thing is staying alive. One, we've got our guests that are freaking awesome and super generous with their time and very vulnerable with us that I absolutely did not expect, We have the audience that continues to listen to our stories, our conversations, and then people giving us feedback. I mean, talk about, like, it's a community, right? Like, it's a new community that I just didn't expect. So for those for those people that are still wrestling with the fear of doing something new, do it. And again, all the people around them, you owe them the truth.
Yeah, like that quote says that don't let the perfect get in the way of the possible.
Ooh, man, that's pretty good. Don't let perfect get in the way of possible.
That's one of the reasons, like, that's one of the things that's keeping me on the 75 hard challenge is it's it's like the perfect exercise for that. Well, granted, you have to kind of do it perfectly, or else you have to start over. But you got to start over and just start over and do
Just
it
start.
again. Just keep on doing it, and eventually you'll chip away, and it becomes easier and easier, and you learn more things, and it becomes a habit. You learn it as you go. Just staying on the path is what's important. You'll learn on
Yes.
the way. You might not ever reach perfection, but I mean, because we can all learn, but staying on the path, you'll learn as you go, and you'll polish as you go as well. That's part of the reason I'm sharing it on Facebook, the 75 hard challenge, is to show people, like, especially with fitness, you see the rock hard abs and the jack muscles and the vascularity,
Like,
and you
don't
think
be.
they're
You don't have. Don't describe my body to the audience.
all right, let's keep it PG. You see that and you think, a lot of people think like, man, they're that guy's crazy. That guy has something I don't, has a quality I don't have. But the secret is nobody does. You get it. You earn it. I feel like that jacked person started off, however, geez, I can't think of a good example right now, but well,
Use it. What about you?
exactly right. I was gonna say that I'm not jacked right now. Shoot, when I started this, I was 203 pounds, and now I'm weighing in at 180.
Dude.
And I'm 46 days in. I started over 75 hard twice because I
Yep.
failed. On the 18th day, I forgot to read my 10 pages. And
Yep.
and then I start over, and then the next set of 18th day, I freaking forgot again. And now I'm on day 10. If you knew me in middle school, I was chubby, and I was chubby all through grade school, in high school, and I started losing weight in high school and stuff. But like, you don't sit here and tell me like, well, you're genetically fit because your
Yep.
genes. Like, no, man. Like, I'm just staying on the path. That's it. And like, when I wake up at 4, so I can get in my workout at 4:30, so I can work out before my kids wake up and my wife wakes up, and so I can be present with them. I do that, but like in the beginning, it sucked. I didn't have that. I guess you could call it discipline in the beginning. I woke up, the alarm went at 4, and I pressed the snooze button the first time. I was like,
But
dude,
that's not a matter of genetics, is it?
no, it's not. It's not a matter of genetics, and it's not fun, and it sucks. It does suck.
Yeah.
So like, I feel like people think that when people do things like that, they're crazy, or they just have the it factor. They have it, but no, like, you push through the suck and you get there. And now it's just a part of my daily routine, and it doesn't suck so bad anymore.
So how does that relate to this journey, the Learnings and Missteps podcast?
In the beginning, I wanted to be the Echo Charles to your Jocko. So if you're Jocko Willink, I would be the Echo Charles, right? And it kind of was like, I said it and I was like, yeah, I'm down, but I didn't really know what I was getting into. I had no idea it would be like an 18-month thing where we're going on this path. I had heard the podcasts, other podcasts, and I was like, yeah, I could do that. Let's see. I didn't know. And then like we got into it like 3, 4, 5 episodes deep, and I felt that momentum starting to fade. Like, it was really fun and new and exciting the first 2, 3 episodes, but then like I felt the insecurity start to seep in, and like all these outside things starting to put a damper on my motivation, quote unquote motivation, and it wasn't as fun and exciting anymore, and I did feel like I wanted to quit and stuff. So how does the 75 hard relate to this? Through the podcast, like, your commitment to the podcast, even when we're not getting the feedback and getting buttered up and getting that hype train that everybody loves about podcasts, we didn't have that, and still going through with it. I feel like that translated to the 75 hard challenge. It was like training in a way, preparing me. It was like an exercise in commitment. And I'm taking that exercise, that lesson in commitment, even though when things aren't going the best, I'm taking that lesson and putting it in the 75 hard. And I don't think I would have been able to do it without that lesson.
Before the podcast, I don't remember you being very active on social media, like posting videos and stories and updates. And now I see you doing that a lot. Is there a relationship?
Yeah, totally. Prior to the podcast, I was one of those guilty of letting the perfect get in the way of the possible. My life has been a roller coaster, and I feel like I'm in the up part of the roller coaster right now these past couple of years. And I feel like some of my experience, if I can share it with some people that are struggling, that I see that of things that I struggled with too, if they could just see somebody that went through that, show them like, wow, like, because like all my friends on my Facebook, they know they've been with me through the ups and downs of my life. I want them to see I knew him back then when he was not okay, and like he's okay now, and he's not only is he okay, he's like thriving too, and like maybe I can thrive. That's kind of the goal. But I've always felt like when I was in the ups and downs and I was getting through it, I've always been the kind of dude that like listens to people when they're coming at me with their problems. I've had an interest in that stuff, like being that guy, because some people, they just need somebody to listen to them, right?
Yeah,
and I've always enjoyed doing that, and and I give some feedback, and I felt it's helped a lot of people. They've told me that I've helped them. I've always wanted to share those. I didn't know how I was going to do it. Social media would be a great platform to do that, even though I'm not entirely sure how yet. And doing the podcast kind of gave me a little that click, I guess, in the head, like, well, why don't you start posting stuff and being a little bit more active on Facebook? It's cool. It's okay if you don't have all the fancy high-tech gear to make super fancy videos and stuff. Just get out there, and when you're in a position where you can get that, get it. But start now. Start now.
Start where you're at. Start with what you got. Just start. You brought up downloads a little while ago. How do you feel about downloads now compared to where we started?
In the beginning, I was like, just like you, like, we're going to do this whether we get 0 or 100 downloads. If we get 0, it's all good. And I was expecting 0, to be honest. I was expecting like less than 25.
I remember.
Now I'm like, I don't know. It's like looking in a bank account with interest, and we have like a high interest rate. We're growing like a lot faster than I thought we were. Granted, we don't have 2,000, subscribers in the 100,000s, but like we just blew away my expectations big time. And it's like the downloads we get now, it's each one is like one more little coin of validation and a little drop of gas on my fire. Each one. Before, it was like, I'm not expecting any gas,
Yeah, man, I'm with you. Like when I look at the stats and what all's going on, it blows my mind. Like, wow, okay, this is fantastic. The feedback, like I mean, we talked about feedback a little while ago, but man, super meaningful, right? Like I had no idea this could happen. My brain, we were going to start this thing, and mom and maybe a few of my coworkers would listen to it, and then it would die. And now we got listeners in the Philippines. We got listeners in Russia, New Zealand, in Turkey, all over the United States. Even Texas, in my head, was like a little bit of a stretch goal. Like, all right, we're going to have some people from Texas for sure. But dude, like there's cities in here that I've never even heard of. Canada, we got a ton of listeners in Canada. Never would I have expected that. The Philippines, Russia, like I don't know anybody over there.
Yeah, that's crazy.
There's a bunch of downloads from those areas, and I know that I wanted to affect people. I know that I wanted to impact the way people think. Right? You and I agreed. Like, why are we going to do this? Let's get that straight first. So I knew that. I just didn't know that it would resonate with so many people in such a broad area. I mean, freaking global, dude. You know, little skinny boy, not who's not skinny anymore, from the south side of San Antonio, little south sider, little Necio. His voice and his baby brother's voice is being listened to in multiple continents of the world. And so, on one hand, that's the power of social media, right, or the digital age that we live in. But these aren't one-time listens. They're coming back to listen to another episode. That wasn't even on my stretch goal, right?
Yeah.
My stretch goal was 18 months, don't quit. That was my stretch goal. To be where we're at now, we got over 1,100 downloads, which again, I know is not enormous, but for me, it exceeds anything I could have expected, right? We're 15 conversations in. It would have been so easy to quit. It would have been so easy. Let's skip this week, right? And we're not getting a great response. Like, let's just wait. Maybe we need to redo this. But we just kept trucking ahead, and it's amazing, man. I mean, we drop a new episode and boom, 60 downloads out of the gate. And it's like, whoa, look, Mom, I'm doing something good.
I feel like the Learnings and Missteps podcast is like when I started growing bell peppers in my apartment balcony.
Yeah.
Remember I told you about that?
Yeah.
So for our listeners, check this out. So I freaking planted these dang bell pepper seeds in these little individualized planters, right? And I was watering them every day. I watered them for like 7 days straight and nothing, man. And the YouTube video told me I should see a sprout on the 4th day, right? So it was approaching the 10th day, and I didn't see nothing. I was like, well, I guess they're dead. I guess that it's not working. So I stopped watering it. But I leave them out on the porch, on the damn balcony, and another week goes by, and I go out there to get something out of the closet, and I see sprouts. I'm like, whoa, like, what's going on here? I asked my wife, I was like, have you been watering the bell peppers? And she was like, no, Zach was. So my son was watering it when I quit. And they sprouted. And then I got back on it, and I started watering it, and they grew, man. Unfortunately, that story doesn't have a happy ending because for whatever reason I stopped watering them and they died. But my point is, like, dude, you plant the seeds and we're watering it together, and then when I start to feel like, yeah, it's like whatever, you keep watering it. And look, it's growing and it's growing and it keeps on growing, and it kind of brings me back. It brings me back. And then, like, now that commitment to the growth, I feel like it clicked in my head, and it translates to everything in my life. Just committing, even though I don't see the growth right now or I don't get it, just stay committed and see what happens, and you'll eventually see that growth and that sprout.
You're my little sprout. So what do you think the future looks like for us?
That's a good question. I'm thinking future for us is like we get a sponsorship. Shoot, long term, I say we get sponsors from like Home Depot or like DeWalt or Milwaukee, the tool companies. I see subscribers. I see comments, like people commenting on our stuff. Conversations happening within those comments. More interviews and people asking to be interviewed. We're seeing that already.
Yes.
And like just people we don't like, way outside of our circle that we don't even know. See, I don't know when, but I feel it getting there. My
favorite thing that's starting to happen, and absolutely love it, is the conversations in the comments. Because, I mean, for real, like our audience, for them to take the time to listen to our crap to begin with.
Yeah.
I understand, when we have a guest, of course you want to listen to the guest, but you really want to listen to me and Rene again? Like that blows my mind a little bit. So not only do they give us their time, and share a portion of their day with us by listening to the episodes. But then they go on social media and give us a thumbs up or a little heart, right? That's awesome. Thank you, right? I love that. And then they'll make a comment. And then somebody else will make a comment. And then, of course, I got to make a comment like, hey, I see you. I love you. And to see that happen, like that right there, I wish I could hug everybody that listens to one episode, everybody that downloads an episode and listens to it. I wish I could shake their hand and just smile and say, man, thank you. That means so much to me. And when they make comments on our social media posts, like that's as close as I can get to that. Personal friends like my coworkers and so forth. Patrick Burns, he's a regular listener, and he always gives me feedback all the time. And it's pointed, it's actionable feedback. It's the greatest gift that I could ask for ever. And then to see the other folks that I don't see, like, you know, that are in different cities, different states, different countries, because we global, baby. To see their comments and be able to interact with them, that is really special to me. So anyways, my point is it's starting to pick up, and I would love for it to just continue growing. You know what I would really love? What I would really love is for there to be so many comments and questions and dialogue through email, through social media, right? All the stuff that I had to lose sleep so that I could respond to everybody. That would be a fantastic problem to have. You know, I can't, when it gets to that point, I got to tell the audience out there that I can't promise you that I'm going to be dressed appropriately when I'm responding, but I will respond. I promise that.
You know what I want to see? I want to see people asking questions, like sending an email of like, hey, what do you guys think about this? Or can you talk about that? Or my son has a question about trades, or, you know, or I'm worried, you know, maybe saying something about their concern. Like, I'm concerned that he won't make enough money or something. So can you guys talk about that? Or, like, you know, whatever. That's just an example, but somebody asking a direct question that we can talk about.
Yeah, for sure. So what do you think about doing live?
I'm not opposed to it.
That's a little scary for me. I have to take a shower and shave and shit. The L&Mers, the L&M fam out there are very supportive. And so one of our listeners, Brian Winningham, actually brought that idea to the table just yesterday, the day before. He's like, dude, I've worked with this organization in St. Louis. I think it's in St. Louis. They got this event coming up in May. What do you think about doing like a live podcast, the Learnings and Missteps podcast for that group? I'm like, right? Mine exploded. Like, dude, I haven't even thought that far ahead. Like, I'm just trying to figure out how to finish editing the last damn episode. I'm not thinking about that. But boom, like, I think you talked about it. Like, all of a sudden, it's this click in my brain that says, oh, yeah, I could do that too. I don't know how to do it, but let's figure that shit out. You know, never in my life would I have thought live, right? Like a live podcast, fancy pants, and just the possibilities, the opportunities, the ideas, they just keep coming. And it's hard. You already know this, Rene. Like, I want to, like, let's do an episode every week. And you and Ernest are like, hey, bro, pump the brakes. Like, chill out. We got a life.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't. Has the podcast affected you in your personal life without Ellie, the babies?
I feel like it really hasn't at home, other than, you know, I guess no, I take it back. I worry that doing these little extracurricular things outside of what I need to do, like work and being present with my family, things like that. Things that I have to do every day without question, right?
Yep.
I feel like when I start doing extra stuff and I spend more time away from those duties, I feel like it's gotten me in trouble. I worry that my wife would, you know, start to feel like I'm putting priority over her and my family, my kids, right? But during this, it was refreshing. I learned more about her in the sense that she does want that quality time and, you know, for her to be a priority and all that stuff. This, on the other side is, but she does believe in our message too.
Oh,
and
wow.
she does see that it's important. I want to say she's giving me a longer leash, but she's giving me a longer leash. I don't know how else to say it.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, like it's nice. It's refreshing to know that she's not getting pissed off if I'm recording, right, and the baby's woke up and I was away for an hour, you know, because she believes in it. And it's really, really cool, like, to see that she supports me in this. I hope I'm trying to paint that in the best way possible.
Yeah.
I feel like that sounds a little bad. But,
well, no, I don't think it sounds bad. Maybe without context, it might sound bad, because Areli's super awesome.
Yes.
And Rene has had a lot of ideas. This new thing he's going to do, bell pepper, perfect example, that he starts and then he lets them die.
Thank you. That is 100% accurate. And I think that she's seen my harebrained ideas before, and I go all in. All right. And I start spending all this time on it for a month, and then it doesn't go anywhere. So it's like, of course, she's going to have a little bit of like reservations and stuff about a new idea that I think is fantastic. And I'm not even going to see it through. So like, you're spending all this time away from us, and then you're not even going to see it through. Like, what's the point? You know what I mean? But this, she sees that. It's this podcast. She sees the commitment. She sees the feedback we're getting, and like, she hears the message and how it's important, and she's all about it. And like, our relationship has grown in that regard. Like, the trust and the faith in me and my commitment to things that I feel are important. I feel like she has that now.
The reason I wanted to do this reflection was to give our audience a peek into what we're actually feeling and thinking. You know, what this experience has been like, right? How amazing it's been. I mean, I didn't expect doing the podcast to bring me, you, and Ernest closer together to the depth that it has. For me, it has. Y'all know that I struggle making time to just spend time with y'all. This has helped me spend more time with y'all, not just from the record, not just like podcast related stuff, but in general. I mean, I imagine probably for y'all, it doesn't seem like it's much different, but for me, I know it is, because there's times where I'll just call you or text you or go to mom's, or because I think like, hey, I want to go spend more time. Like, I can spend more time with my bros. I wanted to share some more of myself with them, because I appreciate them. They're making like, the fact that they're listening is making an impact on my life. And I wanted to be able to tell them that. And I also want, you know, our listeners that are kicking around that idea and sitting on it or letting it bake even longer. I wanted them to get the behind the scenes reality of, it's not that comfortable, and it's okay. Just do it. Just get out there. That's why I wanted to do this reflection.
Ditto. Exactly. Just don't let the perfect get in the way of the possible. I've witnessed people start to take off and start to like jump in the deep end and take a leap of faith into whatever their idea was. And I've seen the people around them just poo-poo on their ideas and their effort, and they stop. They just throw it away. Like, man, I got some bad feedback, and you know what? I can't do it. They were right. Yeah. Right?
Yes.
And then, like, one of the most damaging, in my opinion, of those negative feedbacks is that, like, you don't know what you're doing, so stop. You're looking stupid. You look dumb. You're making a fool of yourself. Stop.
Yes.
And like, I feel like they think that they're not aware that they're not perfect right now. So let me make them aware that they're looking silly. So, hey, bro, you look dumb. Stop. You know, I've seen that a couple of times. So I just want to say, like, I am aware I'm not the perfect speaker, and I don't, you know what I'm saying? I'm not the most polished speaker. I know I ramble. I'm aware of my warts and pimples. But I'm pushing through it and I'm learning as I go, and that's okay. And look, it's working. You know what I mean? Like, it's working. We're getting followers. Just commit and see where it takes you. Just stay on the path and see where it goes. You know, see it through.
Man, you are one dedicated listener, sticking with us all the way through to the very, very end. Please know that this podcast dies without you, and we invite you to share how the episode's impacting you, along with your thoughts, questions, and suggestions. You've been gracious with your time, so we added social media links in the show notes to make it super easy for you to connect with us. Be kind to yourself, stay cool, and we'll talk at you next time.